Hi, good morning. Karen from QuantumHeartAwakening. Today, this will be a twin flame hierogamy support reading. I haven't done one of these in a while, and I was thinking about why. And I think these readings tend to be incredibly complex and really dense. That's why I usually like to separate out the divine feminine and divine masculine so we could go really deep in one energy. However, this is really important, and I'm trying to simplify the spreads for the twin flame reading. So let's see how it works today. Let's see where we go. So, as usual, we have the divine masculine on the left, the divine feminine on the right, and the union energies down the center. Okay, so divine masculine in the primary position, we have the mirror card. Who or what is triggering you? So, we found in the last divine masculine reading that they are going through a dysregulated period, but that dysregulation makes perfect sense for this divine dismantling that's happening for them. There's a disillusionment taking place, and they're being called to sort out what is what. We actually received this deception and envy card, but it came out sideways, but I put it upright just so we could see it. So they may be going over the past with a fine-tooth comb to see and reevaluate, was that really deception? Was I envious? Was there some, I don't know if some of you read what I posted in the community tab about how there's such an uproar in the divine masculine energies because they are being called to integrate their inner feminine. And there may be some, I'm doing this with my hands, there may be some abrasion in that process. So what is actually taking place when this is happening? So what's happening, or what I'm perceiving that's happening on the planet with these energies and in the collective, we are dropping competition templates and we are calling in creation templates, right? Creation is greater than competition. There is more, we get to share the fruits of creation, where competition, it feels more like a singular victory, if that makes sense. So as this competition template is, I don't want to say it's dying, I don't want to say it's gone forever, but it's no longer in congruence with the way our soul wants to navigate on the planet. So if you think about masculine energy throughout the years and all the wars that have been waged because of, competition and some sort of egoic acquisition of land or of wealth or whatever the thing may be, it's really sad, and it's also really silly how people can wage massive wars for many, many years over these kind of like egoic third chakra, I really want to say like wobbly, insecure third chakras. Like countries have waged war because of their low self-esteem, right? A country can have low self-esteem. Carolyn Mace does incredibly fascinating work. She's actually, very few people know this about her, but she's actually a history buff. So she's actually put her work in energy anatomy on our history and started looking at where different countries have weakened or imbalanced chakra systems. It's really fascinating. Highly recommend if you're into that. But anyway, let's get back to the point. So again, because competition is so heavily wired in masculine energy, it's not saying we're killing it. It's not saying it's dying. We don't want to use these aggressive, harsh terms, because in some areas, we need a little competition, right? Healthy competition can be the impetus for growth and change. And, it even could be, what's that quote about necessity is the something of invention, is the whatever for invention. There could be even some of that where really powerful things come out of competition. However, let's reground. We're being called to live this soul-led life, to take our cues from our higher power. And that higher power is often rooted in this unconditional love and oneness energy. So in that moment, in that intuition, there really is no room for competition. It actually lowers your frequency. And what's another way to say it? It's almost like you're trying to tune into a radio station, for those of you that remember the knobbed radio stations where you have to actually tune in. It jams the frequency, so you're not getting a clear signal. So then you have to adjust, right? Maybe turning the knob one way and dropping the competition, the signal will come in a bit stronger and clearer. Okay, right. So let's get back to the masculine energy. So they, I think, are in this sorting process. They are reviewing the past and looking at their own reflection. They're able to actually see the reflection. It reminds me of, people talk about twin flame mirroring all the time, but I always love to get a little bit more specific about it. It's like for the majority of the path, the masculine has been looking through a two-way mirror, but they're looking through they're not seeing their own reflection. They're seeing you. They're seeing the other person. And so now all of a sudden it's like they're on the other side of the two-way mirror and they're only seeing their own reflection. So when they go back to the past and review what has taken place, they're all of a sudden able to access accurately, whoa, like maybe that was mine, maybe that wasn't theirs. They're being able to discern what is self and what is other. And it didn't show up in this reading, but I think the natural next step of that, of seeing your role in something, is eventually being able to take responsibility. But let's ground this work a little bit in that a lot of micro steps have to happen before that integration and embodiment and accountability and ownership, right? Sometimes it's very devastating to see your role in some sort of chaos or dysfunction. So let's have a lot of compassion for our inner and outer masculines right now who are dismantling these pieces and really taking a hard look in the mirror. We have this magnetism through gratitude card, but it's in the reverse. So something that has been a tenet or a goal on this twin flame path is to get to that higher place where we can actually access that profound gratitude for it all, for the chaos, for the pain, for the tears, for the anxiety, for the dysregulation, for the pain, for the trauma. And again, we always have to say the disclaimer of, if you are in any way, shape, or form in an abusive dynamic, this is not what we're talking about. We're calling to something higher. And at a journey in the past, sometimes it's really hard to discern what is karmic, what is trauma, what is unnecessary, inappropriate pain, and what is that pain for growth, right? And again, regardless of which it is, the work is still the same, right? Because you still have to tune your awareness and call your spirit back to your side of the street, right? And take accountability for, why did I feel called to this situation? What did I go there looking for? What part of me was attracted to XYZ, whatever it is? And that is deep, intimate work. So I'm going to leave that there. I could do a whole reading about that. Maybe I even will. That's actually beautiful inspiration for a future reading. But let's stay on task with the masculine energy. So again, they have the magnetism through gratitude in reverse. And it's this card right here. If you could see, there's this big old turkey who has all its shaking its tail feathers. There's a magnet facing the 3 of cups, right? There's a magnet in these cups our little hearts, all this emotional love, right? So there's something that they don't have access to yet with their awareness about the emotional love. There's something here that they're not, and this could be within or without, right? So yeah, there's something here that they're not ready to access that. They're not far away from it though. Sorry, I'm just looking ahead and just feeling into this. Yeah, they're not far away from accessing that profound gratitude for all of it, right? For the full spectrum of this twin flame experience, the pain, the pleasure, the good, the bad, the ugly. Okay, these cards, two of these cards came up in the Divine Masculine reading. So we have astral travel, vital force information, dream time, soul travel. Yeah, okay, I'm getting two messages here. One message is Divine Masculines are trying to reach you or their higher self in dream time. Maybe some of them are sending up some prayers or incubating dreams, whatever, version of that, and trying to access something beyond self, which are right there already shows such a profound amount of growth. I don't know if you've experienced this, but collectively, Divine Masculines are not the Divine Feminine, right? They're not the gatekeepers of the divine wisdom. They are not the portals to usher in new souls on this planet. So they typically don't get the gnosis first, right? They don't get the wisdom first. So there's something really powerful that they are actually trusting that in something greater than self. It's like they know they have access to something else. Whether or not they believe it or whether or not they utilize that wisdom is a whole nother story, because we also have this angels card in reverse. It's guidance and support. So it would suggest that there is some sort of some blockage, not a major one. I'm feeling like it's a very light energy, that there's just a minor disbelief or a minor maybe even a forgetfulness, that they forget they have divine guidance. They forget they have a soul team working on their behalf, and guardian angels and whatever else you believe in. They forget that they're allowed to ask for help from the spirit realm. There's something here about I'm also guided to this. If you could see this heart with these 3 spirals in it. So it's really interesting. As you know, the spiral symbol is used in many different cultures, indigenous and otherwise, to symbolize this kind of spiritual path outward, inward, and upward, right? I think it's interesting that it's encased within a heart and it's in reverse. So there's something about I'm almost looking at that upside down heart as a cup that's upside down. And when it's upside down, all of the wisdom is like running out. But when it's upright, then it can actually hold the wisdom. So yeah, Divine Masculines may be leaking a little bit of energy right now, but I'm not that worried about it, because as they're leaking, it might also be purging things that are no longer serving them. So that's why it feels like a very light thing. So I think it's overall a beneficial thing. And then again, in the previous Divine Masculine reading, we had this gardening card. I think it was in the reverse last time. So it's pretty exciting that it is in the upright. We have manifesting, planting, and reaping. So in the Divine Masculine reading, we got the message that they weren't able to reap what they sowed because of either they didn't plant anything, so there's nothing to sow, or there's nothing to reap, or they mishandled their seeds. They didn't take care of them. They didn't water and nourish them. They didn't weed the garden. They didn't, really man their space. Yeah, that's an interesting message here. So now I think because they're actually doing the work of tilling This is such an interesting analogy, right? They're tilling the earth of their psyche. They're actually, this person has like a hoe in their hand, right? So they're turning over the earth, right? They're going over everything with a fine tooth comb. They're fertilizing the soil. They're trying to understand what happened, what went wrong, and what they need to do better. So there is this accountability piece that is slowly, finally kind of creeping in. Wow, that's a beautiful message. Okay. That was a lot. Let's go to the feminine and feminine side here. Let's see. Yeah, so divine feminines, we received the no card in reverse. It says wait, postpone, pause, say no. So there's this interesting accountability piece also for the feminines where we're no longer have to sometimes because of our pain and trauma, we over boundary ourselves, right? We are struggling to recalibrate the system and trying to find safety in any way that we can. And for the time being, it is really important to have aggressive boundaries, right? Assertive boundaries, and assert your no, wield your sovereignty in a way that makes you feel grounded and safe and protected. Well, the message I'm getting here is that we no longer have to do that. Divine feminines, you no longer have to over boundary yourself. You can trust that in your skills and tools that you have under your belt at this point in time, that you will actually be able to access your intuition and wise discernment live in real time in the actual moment that it's unfolding. You don't have to, you no longer have to make these blanket statements to protect yourself. Oftentimes, for years of my life, I thought about boundaries as a fence that keeps everything out. And it took me years after my spiritual awakening to realize, oh, fences also keep good things in. And it's such a small little shift, but it really is a profound shift, Also, if you build a boundary or a fence that is impenetrable, then nothing can get in and nothing can get out. So let's keep things honest and authentic, and let's take ownership of where our boundaries have been too harsh and almost overprotected ourselves and overguarded ourselves, and where we created limitations for connections. Let's take accountability and ownership over that. We no longer have to do that. We have triumphant success here, right? There's this beautiful conquering of this temperance. That's the word that's coming through, that we've done enough work on self feminines that we're able to discern what is the sweet spot. What is the spot? If you see this triumphant success card, one side is in the light and then the left side is in the shadow. So there's something about conquering this balance of tempering the work, right? It's very easy. I think feminine energy has been flooded by their emotions, our emotions. It's happened to me many times, many years. And I assume many of you are intuitive empaths and highly sensitive individuals. I think most feminine energy is, but I think we all are. And it's really about peeling back these layers enough and having enough self-awareness to understand where is an appropriate boundary. What is something, what is a boundary? A boundary is a guideline to help someone to respect someone else and to respect ourselves, right? It's this middle ground of like, okay, this is what I need to take another step forward. What do you need? And then you kind of negotiate that boundary and feel into and figure out, and through this negotiation, discover what is a sacred middle ground for the both of you, so that two people or two entities can take a conscious hell yes step forward, right? It's a hell yes in their body. We get to live this embodied hell yes. Okay, by doing this, by becoming these master stewards of our boundaries, we are, this is such a sweet message. I see this bird singing their song, right? And there's all this rainbow coming out of their mouth. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional because it's like the more you're able to wield your sovereignty in a way that is honorable to self and other. Sorry, my voice is shaking. This is just so beautiful. The more you're able to wield your sovereignty in a way that honors self and other, this makes the universe sing. And when the universe sings, the grid of unconditional love and infinite oneness vibrates together, right? The whole tapestry of the universe vibrates together, and that brings in unknown, infinite gifts. We have no concept of what is possible for our lives. Only the divine knows that ahead of time. It is our job to do the work, to be in service to this love, to be diligent stewards of this bit of earth, right? This, and I say bit of earth, and I mean our bodies, right? We are a part of the whole, all of Mother Gaia. Mother Gaia is in us. We are in Mother Gaia. It is what we are one. That is really, really beautiful. Okay. Yeah, we also have the throat chakra card here, which, it has been a theme in all of my readings over the last, I've only been on YouTube, I think 3 months-ish, but from the very beginning, throat chakra, right? Again, our throat chakra, our ability to communicate our deepest self to the world is a huge piece of our sovereignty, right? You can have all the power in the world, but if you just keep it inside yourself and never really let it out, it's how you can't really reach that alignment, right? We also have here this white card, this source, divinity, and enlightenment. Yeah, so, oh, this is an interesting message. And this came up a while ago about feminines. It is safe for you to come out and be your most divine self. The days of witch hunts are over. I hesitated saying over because I just was feeling into, is that true? I think there's always going to be things that attack things that they don't know or understand. But I think you are still safe, even though that may or may not happen. There's not this finality. You're not going to be burned at the stake for your divinity. Wow, that's just taking up a lot of space in my body and my energy. It's like, I'm going to hold this up in the upright. I wait, it's not focusing. Sorry, that's as good as it's going to get, I guess. I see this multi-petaled, I don't know if it's a lotus, but whatever this is, it almost looks like a hydrangea in the background. But what I'm also visualizing is a woman in this beautiful multi-layered dress who's just twirling. And it reminds me of the whirling dervishes, right? The whirling dervishes whirl to as devotion, right? To be one with source. And sorry, that's deeply moving. So there's something here about it is safe. It is safe to step in and communicate all of this beauty, all of this love, all of this truth. Yeah, wow. Okay. Whew, this message, geez. Okay. I want to cry like ugly cry right now so hard, but let's move on. Whew. I'll just make a personal comment. It's just really exciting to be here. And for those of you who have been walking this path for many, many years, you are no longer alone walking this path. You no longer have to carry this, the entire grid and quantum field on your back. We are the quantum field, and I think others are waking up to that. So we're in this really beautiful place. It's interesting. This premonition prophecy card, this has come up, in this reading, it came up in the unconscious, but this card keeps showing up. And I never really know what to do with it or what to say about it. Nothing intense comes off of it. So I'm going to read actually from the book and reminding you this came up in the unconscious. Okay, premonition, the prophecy card. It says, and this is just so everyone knows, this is regarding the union energy. So this is for both energies. Trust your instincts and your ability to know, see, feel, and hear the prophetic messages that are coming to you now from the divine. The dream appearance of circles, the number 3, and awakening with a sense of knowingness all denote prophecy. This card also reminds you that premonitions are to be respected. They might come to you through symbolic images or intuitive feelings. You are being prepared for an event that is about to occur unless you change your course of action. There is no destined outcome. Stay present, be in the here and now, live in the moment. Use your imagination to actively create and shape your future. Okay, beautiful. What's also coming off of this card for me is this trust that because it's in the unconscious, I'm going to call both energies to action here and call yourself out and look at where you're not trusting and surrendering to this greater path. Okay, let's drop into the union energies. This card keeps coming up in all the readings. It says, trust the niggle. What is that niggling feeling trying to tell you? And then we have Lemuria, creating heaven on earth. It's happening. We've actually gotten both these cards in some recent reading. I can't remember. Okay, then we have suffering in silence and spiritual strength in reverse. So, okay, this is a beautiful card, and I'm happy that it's coming out in the union, because over in the divine masculine energies, we have, again, reminding you, they're going over their stuff with a fine-tooth comb. And suffering in silence in reverse is wonderful, right? It's not in the upright. There's no longer this active suffering and in isolation and solitude. Spiritual strength in reverse symbols to me that we're all really leaning on spiritual strength, that maybe we haven't stepped into mastery, but we're working the problem, right? We're just putting some stuff on the board. I got the visual of like a math problem. And when you get a really complex math problem, I'm thinking of in old college classrooms where the chalkboards go from like 4 feet off the ground all the way 20 feet up in the air, and there's crazy mathematical formulas on that look like hieroglyphics and all these crazy things. So it's interesting. Both parties are working the problems right now by doing this. It's like you make the way by walking the way, by actually stepping directly in the center of your suffering, calling on source, asking appropriate question, asking for support. This is how you access your inner authority. This is how you don't wake up one day and someone hands you your sovereignty. You have to build the inner fortitude, the inner self-esteem, the love, the compassion, the empathy to own this power, right? You have to become the person. We're not, again, we don't just pick up sovereignty off the floor. We create an inner authority. We create the right environment within ourselves for sovereignty to flow through. So when I throw around this word sovereignty a lot, it's one of my favorite words. But remember, it's filled with an infinite number of micro steps, right? To get to this thing called sovereignty. And it's a dynamic thing, right? It's a living, breathing organism. There's always a movement, and there's always work to be done to assess where we're at. This reminds me of the feminine of, we're no longer have to over boundary ourselves, right? We can assess in real time, live in the moment. Okay, how do I feel? Does this feel good? We love ourselves enough to take up enough space to go at our own pace so that we can access aligned, wise discernment. Beautiful message for union energies. Give yourself a round of applause, because honestly, you're doing it. You're doing all the things that you've always wanted to do. So please take time to celebrate and rest and have fun, experience joy, whatever those things look like for you. Think about also, I invite you to remember who and where you were 5 years ago, or 5 minutes ago or 6 months ago, or, you know, like think back to that version of self that wished they could be who you are now, and look at all this profound work that you're doing. Like, honestly, please take time to celebrate. None of this is easy. No one said it was, and we shouldn't try to make it easy, right? What's that phrase that's like, life doesn't get easier, but we get stronger? That's exactly it, right? This path does not get easier. We still have the same desires and pains and fears, but we are stronger and we have more tools, and we can come back into ease maybe a little bit quicker than we used to. And that is worth celebrating. Okay, again, back to the union energies. When we can step into this inner authority, prosperity begins. There's also something here about this abundance card is in reverse. So I don't think we're meant to access a certain abundance. I think our abundance is actually this service. You know, I think what this is saying is your abundance isn't going to look like what you thought it was going to look like, but being in service and sharing these gifts, sharing this knowledge, sharing your voice, sharing what you've been through is the abundance. Okay, and this whole section came out in reverse. So yeah, divine timing. It's not time yet. We are getting spiritual downloads on which direction we're going. We are in the process of transmuting and alchemizing these energies. And what does this say? I can't read upside down. Taking action, fruition, intellect. Right. We are not taking action right now. We are using our intellect to reflect on the lessons. We're taking radical accountability and responsibility for this beautiful journey. Keep trying. Just keep going. We are healing these ancestral patterns. We are rewriting. This is an interesting phrase. We are rewriting the future. We are breaking this chain. Wow. That is beautiful. I'm going to end on one Buddha card. Anything else, Spirit? Yes, beautiful. We have, watch yourself, awaken yourself. Be the awakened dreamer who dreams awake. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. That was a pretty cool reading. I feel very light and excited, actually. This is a good day. So please take time to celebrate in any way that you desire. All right. I hope this was supportive, sending you a lot of love. See you in the next one.